I've been getting a ton of requests in the messages asking for basics, so here you go. Today I'll be going over the 3 essential exercises to lift slowly into a handstand. Then I'll be covering the 2 essential exercises for beginners who want to start training low-hanging muscle-ups, such as in a commercial gym or in their room or a playground or anywhere that doesn't have a lot of overhead hanging space. And then I'll be going over the basics of a barbell squat. Even though it's not technically calisthenics, you're moving your body through space and it's a valuable exercise. I also want to give a huge shout out to my sponsor ATL. Some guys just throw you supplements and whatever. Others join your crew and work out with you because they believe in what you're doing.
Do you want to be able to do this? If this is what you want to do, I'll be showing you 3 progressions now that are essential to get this. So progression 1 is going to be the bent arm frog stand. So you're going to start, you want to tuck your elbow in between like that. All right, so in between your thigh and your calf. So I come up to the rings and I put my heels together and my knees out wide. I bend my elbows down into the pits of my knees in between, and then I lean forward on my toes until I become weightless. This is the bent arm variation. The progression will then be, you want to work your way to straight arm variation. After that, you're going to switch to a crow stand, which is your knees up here. So the way to load into a crow stand is you're going to bring your elbows down, butt up, and tuck your knees onto your triceps. If you don't have enough core strength, this is going to be really difficult in the beginning. So wait until you have the core strength so you're not cutting into your triceps with your knees. Anyway, same thing goes here. You lean forward until you become weightless. I like bringing my feet together. Once you master the bent arm variation, you want to press to the straight arm variation like this. All right? The other essentials for handstands are you're going to want to be able to do pike presses. So this would be a pike press. Whatever your flexibility allows, you're going to get up on ballet toes and walk it in. From there, you're just going to do pressing. Straight down to the floor, straight up, press those shoulders into your ears. So straight down to the floor. I like to pause on my head, press up, shoulders into the ears. Straight down to the floor, press up. And really squeeze those shoulders into your ears to activate the traps. And then the last thing to get would be the headstand leg lift. So I'm going to pop up on my head. I'm going to be up on my fingers, my arms straight out in front to activate the traps. And then I'm going to get my butt over my head. Once my butt's over my head, my body becomes weightless. So the first thing you do is from a crow stand. So you would come up into the straight stand, back down, keep your butt over your head, and curl into the crow stand. Bring the toes hovering above the floor, come up, again, on the fingertips to a straight line. The next part of the progression would be the full leg lift. So come down, here, hover above the floor, come back up to a straight locked out position. Again, shift your weight, come down to the floor, hover above the floor, and come up to the locked out position. And those are the essentials for mastering a handstand or getting your first one. So I showed you the progression. So once you master all 3 of those, you should be able to get yourself from the bent arm frog stand up into the handstand. It's going to take a press and a raise. So combining all 3 of those elements together, it should look like this. Key points to note, you do not bend your arms much. Bend your arms as little as possible. The more you bend your arms, the more difficult it will be to raise into the handstand, but it'll be much easier to get your butt over your head. So, and the other thing to note is if my head's only coming down here, I'm not getting to the handstand. You want to bring your head forward, as far forward as you can maintain. So it's going to look like this. So I'm going to come here, load my frog stand, load up. I like coming from the straight arm, but then I just bend a little, just to there. And then I come up. I'm obviously doing this slower for the video, and then I'm going to press my way up into the handstand. It's going to be a lot more difficult for you in the beginning, but just work on these 3 exercises and you should get it no problem. Once you get strong at all those, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but it'll be a lot more doable. I highly recommend you don't kick up into handstands. Thank you. All right, so the style of calisthenics that we do is not technically gymnastics because we do it in parks, commercial gyms, at home with like an 8-foot ceiling or lower, doorway pull-up bars, whatever, so you're not going to be able to hang the rings that high often. So to get your first muscle up, you're gonna have to change it a little. You're not gonna be able to do a traditional like vertical muscle up. You're gonna have to do a combination between an ice cream maker. So I'm gonna show you the two most important exercises to do a low hanging muscle up. I'm a little higher here because I have more room today, but this is how you would do a low hanging muscle up. So you would come from a tuck lever. I like to do it like this, and you're gonna pull up, chest, through, and up. All right, then when you come down, what you're gonna do is you're gonna get this. The first exercise that's the most important, I do these in sets of 2. These are how you get low-hanging muscle ups. So you're gonna do just a false grip pull up to the chest with a muscle up rock. Now it's important, you don't bring your hands up wide, you just let them roll across your chest like this. So I'm gonna be here with my hands out, and then I'm gonna initiate from the scapula, pull, 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 pull to my chest. Once I touch my chest, I just go like that, and back down. So again, hands out, I pull, I touch my chest, and then I just go like that. Once you get there, you should have no problem doing a muscle up. Just do a negative, understand the negative, and the muscle up should be easy. But now, the other essential for low hanging muscle ups is to understand ice cream makers. So I'm not gonna use the false grip for this, you don't have to, but you can. So what you're gonna do is we're gonna start with a tuck, and then do a candlestick tuck for the ice cream makers. So you're gonna start at the top of a pull up, with your knees tucked, and then just lower backwards, up, backwards. And the candlestick variation is like this. It's kind of like a hybrid of a V-sit. So I'm here, hybrid V-sit, and back. Between those, you're gonna get your first muscle up, especially if you train low. So a lot of my videos, if you watch, the muscle ups might be coming from this close off the ground, the rings might only be about this high. We got to do what we have, especially when gyms are locked down and there's all sorts of training rules. So if you're training in your home, low ceilings, playground, commercial gym, pull-up bar, whatever, you're gonna need to do a hybrid of an ice cream maker tuck into a muscle up. Very important, try these out, let me know if they work.
Even though I've trained primarily in calisthenics and bodyweight exercises at this point in my life, I do still use the barbell squat. I go light with this and use it as a very slow, controlled mobility exercise, but you can do whatever you want. It's absolutely, it's the standard for building leg strength. So anyway, as you see here, the barbell should be moving in an almost perfectly vertical line. And the key to that is you're going to want to avoid the butt wink at all costs. So do not allow your lower back to round to cheat the mobility required for this movement. Only go as deep into the hole as you can without rounding your lower back, and then progress deeper and deeper as your mobility increases. It's also very important to note that I'm not allowing my knees to go very far past my toes, if any at all. It's important to keep as vertical of a shin as possible. So now, something else to note is my knees are always going to be going outward slightly. I don't want to over exaggerate and push my knees really far out, but I do want my knees to be slightly outside my feet. I don't want my knees to collapse inwards and create a valgus. What that does is very damaging on your MCL and your meniscus. So it's very important that your knees track slightly outside your toes. Aside from that, I have roughly a shoulder width stance. My heels are in flight and my toes are turned out. I find that this is just most natural to me and carries over best to the pistol squat and other bodyweight movements. Absolutely try this out. I recommend you move very slowly in these.